Hi and welcome everyone. In today's video I'm going to draw Julian, who is again a model and one of my lovely Instagram followers, and he also won my drawing event. So this is his drawing, which I actually have already sent over to him. And as my drawing technique and the background design is quite similar to the ones that I recently did for Fabian or Bruno, I do not want to speak again about my technique and rather tell you something about my way into arts. Just in case you wondered about the background, I usually ask the models which is their most favorite color, and I then use the color for the background design, which was a turquoise in this drawing, and so I mixed a blue, yellow and white and created a turquoise color and used it for the background design. If you want to have a closer look in details into my drawing technique for charcoal, you can head over to the Fabian or the Bruno drawing, where I explain everything in more detail, or other charcoal portraits that I already did on my channel. I will explain my technique more in detail there. Coming to my path into arts. So this is a question I am occasionally asked, and so I thought, why not making a video about this telling you? Basically, I did not went to art school. My journey into art started when I was at school, and in Germany I was at a gymnasium, which is a 12-year school where I live, and I actually always had an interest in arts. I would not say I was gifted or talented or whatsoever, I just was interested in it. Until I was 13 I was also very good in singing, but then puberty came and I was not good anymore in singing, so I decided to continue in arts, especially in the course system, so the 11th and the 12th grade in our school system. You can decide whether you go for arts or for music, and so of course I went for arts. In a way, I think I was always lucky, if you can say that, because my art teacher probably saw more into me than I did myself at this point. She always allowed me to do topics even if this was not the topic for the entire class. So if the class had a topic to work on and I did not like this topic and decided to work on anything else which was more interesting for myself, she would allow me. And so I was allowed to create my own artwork, which at times was completely different topic-wise than the rest of the class did. But she was fine with this, and so I was in a way lucky to have such a great teacher. And I had a friend at school who was way better than me, I would say, in arts. And I was in a way looking up to him and wanted to be as good as he was. Comparing my skills now, I'm of course way better. But at this point he was just amazing for me to see what he was able to create. And so I wanted to follow his path. After school he decided to study arts, which I actually did not really want to do, because I was not really sure what to do with an art degree once I have finished. And something that I was a bit worried about was the art history. So even during my times at the gymnasium, I really loved the artsy part, but I did not like the art history part. So the theoretical stuff like interpreting pictures and drawings, or trying to figure out what the artist wanted to tell you, or even learning biographies of the old masters and really have to know in detail what they normally ate for breakfast. So this was something I was really not into. So of course it wasn't very interesting, but I was not as interested in it, learning the whole stuff, and really needed to know to become an artist myself. So this was something I was afraid of having in an art study course, even more than I had in school. And this was something I did not really face in my art classes at school. It was the same in my German or English classes at school, where we had to read original German or English books and interpret them and write pages and pages and pages of interpretations about them, which I really always hated. I don't know, I just was not good at this, or at least I had no interest in doing so, because my perspective on arts, or on my art actually, is the viewer should watch it and like it or not. Of course, I do put some of my soul into it each time I create something, but at least for now, I have no hidden secrets in them, or that anyone should spend hours standing in front of it trying to find out what I wanted to say with it. And if you like it or not, totally up to you. So, but there is no need to stand in front of it and asking yourself why I created this. Most of the times because I liked the subject, or the model was good looking, or I just liked the scene overall. So there is no hidden secret so much about my artwork. And I had this quite often in our art classes, where we had to interpret old masters' drawings or paintings. And I do not know anymore who was the painter of this artwork, but just for your imagination, it is a summer scene, mountains in the background, a grass field in the foreground, a young woman with a long dress standing right in the middle of the painting, wearing an umbrella painted from the backside. And we were asked to interpret why the painter painted her like this. Well, my first impression, yeah, why not? And my second thought was, well, perhaps they both went for a walk this sunny summer day, and perhaps she was his wife or girlfriend, and she was just standing in the scene and he liked the overlook of it and decided to paint her like this. And the reason that she was painted from the backside, because he was not able to draw faces, or he was afraid of drawing faces and to ruin it, perhaps. Because I would have done the same. And giving her the umbrella might even increase this impression, because he might have not been able good in drawing hairs. I don't know, but this is how my brain actually thought about it. Or there was another painter in the game, I really do not know who it was. Yeah, he was actually painting people in all of his paintings, and the people were more or less the subject matter of the painting. And they were always standing in some kind of scenery, but in no painting whatsoever you were able to see the face or hands. These figures were always looking at the seas or the mountains, or just you was always able to see them from behind, so their hairs actually, or they were wearing a hat, or at least perhaps a slight angle that you get the impression of a face, but it was never really rendered. Same with the hands, so there were never hands visible. They were wearing gloves, or had the hands in their pockets, or were holding something in their hands which more or less covered the hand itself. So this was always the same in each of his paintings, and we were supposed to interpret it. And you know what? My brain just thought, well, perhaps he can't draw faces and hands, because hands and faces are difficult, and perhaps he does not really want to give himself the pain to practice it, and it was perhaps not even necessary for him to do, because he wanted to just express something differently and give the overall feeling of the scenery, not to be distracted from faces or hands. I have no idea, but this again was how my brain worked, because I would have done it the same if I was not able to draw faces or hands. So even if he does not know how to paint a face, his statement was clear. Even if he was not able to paint the hands, his statement was clear. And now, after all these years, having had contact to several artists that went to art school, I must say I do not really regret this decision. In a way, I regret the decision because it makes you easier as an artist to get in contact with other creative people and to have, in a way, an art degree, to be acknowledged as an artist and such. But most of them, at least the ones I spoke to, did not really learn so much to improve their skills. And this again depends what you actually want to go for. So if you want to go for modern art or something like this, the art study might be a good thing to do. But if you want to be a realistic painter, as I am, or portraiture or whatever, as far as I've learned, art universities are not a place to go for. At least not for learning your skills and to improve on your skills, because they normally do not teach this. Or at least not to an extent what you might have expected to. Because when I thought going to university, studying arts, you will have your degree and be as good as the old masters. But you are not. Which I did not know in the beginning as well. So my friend who went to art school told me afterwards that he did not really learn anything new skill-wise, and he had to teach everything that he knows on his own. And as I teach myself more or less on my own, I did not see any reason to go to art school. And as far as I know, he does not even work in any art-related field after all right now. And after school for quite some time, I did not really draw or paint that much. Occasionally I did, so there was a year where I did more, there was 1 or 2 years where I did less, and so it just went on over years. And at some point, it was I think 4 years ago now, I had the feeling, okay, if you really want to become an artist at one point of your life, you really should take it seriously and continue working on your progress and getting better in stuff. And yeah, so in 2013 I decided to make this the year where I start to create, in a way, my own art career and see how my path leads me and what I can accomplish and all the things and details that come into your mind when you have such an idea. And one topic that I really wanted to go into is portraiture, because I was always fascinated by humans and faces and the human body in general, and I really at this point was not able to draw or paint it, and I had no idea about construction of the human body or proportions or everything that you will need to be able to do portraiture in the end. So I was able to create a human face in a way, so it was not really the one that I wanted to draw, but it was at least a human face. I was completely wrong with eyes and noses and mouth, so I had many mistakes there, but at least it looked like a human face. So, but of course, to do portraiture you need to recreate the person that you have on the photo or in real life in front of you. So this was a struggle, but I really wanted to do this because I always felt that landscapes do not give me the satisfaction. So I really wanted to do portraiture, and so I decided to start it. And even if you fail for a couple of months, I wanted to be better at it. And so I started, and my first portraits were just not worth mentioning, I'd say. But I kept going and I grew over time and over time. I, of course, had several books about anatomy and how to draw, how to paint, what lighting is, what the rule of thirds is, and all the stuff that I would count to basics. And if you really want to learn how to draw or to paint, YouTube has a variety of information and details and trainings, all the stuff that you will need to reach your goal. There always is some kind of misconception that artists are born talented. I was never a fan of this expression actually, because although I think many artists are in a way gifted or born in a way to be more creative, perhaps, the process of learning how to draw and how to paint I would not call a talent. It is more like a skill, because the level that I am currently now, it involved several thousand hours of practice and trial and error, and yeah, so this is not really, in my opinion, that much of a talent, because it was trained. And so in my very own opinion, everyone actually could learn drawing or painting if there is the interest in it. So if you really want to spend so much hours into a subject, then you will be able, pretty sure, to learn it, like every skill actually. And I therefore more or less agree that artists or creative people are more willing to invest the time needed to perfect their skills in a way. I hope you get the point that I want to tell you. So I myself do not feel so much talented. I would call myself skilled. And at this point now in my life, I'm not sure where my road is going to take me. So if I will be able to one day live from portrait commissions, or if I create something original that I will be able to sell, or to sell prints, or if I more or less go in the teacher way, or at one point be able to create a Patreon account and have enough followers to follow me on there to give me a living. So I really don't know where my road is going to, and this is actually built up step by step currently. And of course, if you want to help me, commission me in drawing something or painting something, or go over to my Etsy store for my fluid acrylic artworks and support me over there. So whatever you want to do, if you want to do. I hope this gave you a small insight into my personal art growth, if you want to say it like this. I hope you liked the video. I hope it was of any good for you. And of course, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon if you want to get notified for new videos. And I would be happy to see you in my next video. Have a great day. Bye bye.